The next caller is Evan in California.
Yeah, hi Peter, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. This kind of ties into what you were talking about with the last caller. After reading your books and a bunch of other books, I've been convinced about the ultimate demise of the dollar sometime in the future. And one thing I've been doing this year is preparing for that collapse with buying junk silver. And my question is, can you envision a post-dollar demise where at least temporarily you can say that basic food items and gas can be purchased with silver coins? And if not, what do you see happening?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe that at some point, there will be, that type of barter arrangement, even though it's not really barter if you look at silver as actual money. But I do think that there will be situations where people will recognize the value of those junk silver coins and be willing to exchange goods and services for payments to be made in those silver coins. Now, what might happen is that activity might actually be illegal, right? It might be in a black market because the government might ban that. The government might say that merchants are prohibited by law from refusing to accept dollars or from transacting in other currencies. In fact, because of the tax laws, and I know there's a bill that Ron Paul has, which to try to repeal the capital gains tax on gold and silver, which is essential. Because, see, the reason you have to repeal those taxes is because there's not a real gain. Let's assume that you want to protect your wealth, and so you let's say somebody has $1,000 and they convert it into $1,000 worth of silver. And then the dollar loses 90% of its value. And that silver has a dollar value of $10,000. But as far as how much oil you can buy or how much food you can buy, it hasn't changed. You can buy the same amount of food or the same amount of oil. But the problem is, if you go to spend your silver coins, the government's going to say, "Oh, well, you made 10 times your money, so we want you to pay an income tax of equal to 40% of that gain." But it's not a real gain. All you did was avoid a loss. But it also makes it impossible for people to really transact in these coins, because if you bought the coin and then you actually exchanged it, you went and you use it to buy something. How do you figure out what the gain was and then pay a tax when you never even sold it? So, we really need to abolish that tax. But without it, all these transactions will be illegal. Everybody who is not reporting capital gains and buying and selling in silver or gold coins will be breaking the law. But you know what? A lot of people might be breaking the law because it might be that the only way to get certain items might be to get them on the black market. That's what always happens in countries where you have price controls or exchange controls because of runaway inflation. And America might not be an exception. And we might end up with price controls again because of the runaway inflation that the government creates, which will lead to shortages and black markets. That's how it always happens.
Right. You got to feed your family some way, right?
Yep.
Another quick question. I have mining stocks and silver and gold mining companies. Can you see where it might be some time in the future where I would want to be out of those stocks and into physical metals, or is that not something you're worried about?
Well, I mean, I own both. I recommend both. I mean, right now I think gold stocks are still undervalued relative to gold, so I think there's a lot of money to be made for people who are willing to speculate in those stocks and understand the risks. I think there's a lot of upside potential there. So, but at some point in the future, hopefully, there will be a time when we do want to be out of gold stocks, and we do want to be out of gold. But hopefully, there'll be a time where I'm recommending, U.S. companies, big stocks, small caps. I mean, maybe I'll be recommending, U.S. bonds again. I'm hoping we have that. We made that transition. The 1970s was the inflationary decade where you had to run from the dollar, you had to buy the Swiss franc, you had to buy gold, you had to buy oil. But in 1980, when we got Reagan and we got Volcker, that was the all clear. They did the right thing initially. And, the smart move was to get out of all those non-U.S. investments, buy the Dow when it was below 1,000, buy treasuries when they were yielding, 15% or whatever they were paying back then. There was a huge bull market that we had in the 80s that went into the 90s because we did the right thing in when Reagan first came in. Now, we didn't do the right thing during his entire term because ultimately we never got the spending cuts that Reagan promised. We never abolished the departments that he promised to eliminate, and that left the door open for all the new problems that came later. and we're we're paying for that now. So what we need this time around is we need to do the right thing, and we need to stick to it and follow through. And then if we do that, we can invest in America, in American companies.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Peter. Merry Christmas
Thanks.
to you.
Same to you.